On November 18, 2025, the internet almost broke. Half of the sites were not working and everything returning a 500 error. It was not a powerful hack or a massive power grid failure, rather, a tiny update to a database file that got double in its size, which the servers couldn't handle. And the company was Cloudflare behind all this outage. Because we rely too much on one cloud provider or one security provider or even one DNS provider for all our needs, we are unintentionally creating a single point of failure. If that website is down or had some configuration issue, our website, our business, our applications will also be impacted, and we have to wait for them to fix their servers. What if I told you there is a way to take back that control? In this video, I'm going to introduce you to SafeLine, which is a firewall solution that you can self-host. Self-host meaning you are the boss, you control your security, you control every aspect of your server and security needs. It comes with a free version, which is open source, and a pro version. You just need to upgrade to a licensed version to get the benefits of pro. But even their open source version has a lot of features that you can start using. So in this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to install SafeLine and how easy it is to secure your cloud environments, your on-prem environments, and even your home lab environments. With this, you manage your own servers, your own infrastructure, even on cloud or on premises, and you don't have to worry about being impacted by such outages again. Alright, so let's dive into the video where I'm going to show you step-by-step instructions of how you can use SafeLine and secure your environments. So let's go ahead, and I already had it over here, but let me show you how you can do it from the scratch. So first, let me do the cleanup of repos and SafeLine folder. Oops, I get permission denied. That's okay. I'll just use sudo. Okay, it's done. Now I don't have anything, just docker.sh, because make sure your server has Docker installed, because we'll be using Docker Compose to build up these applications. Okay, so now I have this repository, and this repository has all the setup instructions, all the details. And for this demo, I have prepared an N8N workflow. So there is this N8N. It's an amazing tool for workflow automation. You can run your AI agents to do certain tasks for you based on some triggers, and it comes with a lot of integration. So I'll be hosting N8N, plus I'll be hosting this SafeLine WAF, web application firewall, to protect this N8N workflow environment, right? Because let's say if I'm hosting this on EC2 server and I'll be sharing this with my teammates, so I need to make sure that it is secure, and I need to make sure that it is able to withhold all the attacks that is going on. Okay, so you can just clone this repo, and I have automated most of the steps, but let me show you how it's done. So clone this repo, and here's my server. So I'm just gonna do a git clone. Okay, and inside that, go inside the folder, and inside that there'll be an install.sh, right? So just execute this. So it will basically have instruction to build the Docker Compose up, and it will create multiple Docker Compose containers. So it will have any 10 containers related to SafeLine WAF, because this SafeLine, it has 7 to 8 containers. There have multiple services. So each one will be pulled up and provisioned as a separate Docker container. So this command will take care of all those things. And if you want to see, you can check the logic in the repository. Everything is there. So install.sh, what it will do, it will provide some permissions, it will create some directory, and then Docker Compose pull, start the service in the background, and it will wait for the services to come up, and then it will print out the credentials and so on, right? Now over here there is a instruction to simulate the attacks as well, so you can check that. I'll walk you through that. And this is the detailed instructions of how would you set up new environment, right? So first we'll see how to set up manually, and if we face any issues, then we can refer this particular md file, right? It'll have manual steps, all the manual steps as well, right? So ideally our install.sh should do the work, and all the containers should be up and running shortly. So let me just pause the recording for a brief. Okay, it says it's completed and I don't see any errors. So let's go and check it out. So this is the URL for your SafeLine. This is the URL for N10. Based on your use case, like I'm just doing it for the demo, but you can secure this as well. If you don't want it to be printed on the standard output screen, you can get it from some other ways, or you can publish that in a key vault and securely access it from there. Okay, so let's access this WAF console over port 9443. It says localhost, but this has to be on the public IP of this server. Okay, so open this and 9443. Okay, connection is not secure. That's okay because we have not installed the SSL. Now it says, yeah, let's agree and let's enter the credentials. Credentials will be over here. So admin, and I'm just gonna copy this as the password. Oh, it says username and password does not match. Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not really allowing me to copy. Yeah, the U was missing. So let's add this. Okay, so I'm inside and this is how the console will look like. I mean, it doesn't have anything because we have not really secured it. We have not really asked it to monitor any endpoint. So let's do that and then we'll walk you through. So this is the open source version and it will have many features. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade the license or you can start the 7-day trial version as well to access the pro features of it. Let's go ahead and go to applications. You won't see any application. You can click on add application from here. Now you need to provide your application details over here. I think it will work with localhost because on localhost we have the NA10 working. So let's check the NA10 as well. It's running on 5678. So the same URL, oops, the same URL, which is this one, and on the port 5678. No, it's not there. Let's check it again. Localhost, which is like the public IP, and on the let's check the Docker PS as well. Yeah, NA10 is restarting. There is some issues with it. Let's check it out. What's the issue with it? Okay, so let's check out the logs of this NA10 container. I'm just copy the container ID and Docker logs. Okay. I think here is the error which says permission denied on this directory. Maybe it's trying to create a config directory and it does not have permissions to it. Let's do one thing. Let's run the install.sh with sudo with elevated permissions. Okay. It says running. It did not recreated the container, maybe because it was already running. Now there was a sleep in install.sh for a few seconds. So let's see. And let's see if it is coming up. No, doesn't look like. Okay, it is completed. Now let's check again. No, this anytime is not up yet. Docker ps and it's still restarting. Let me do the cleanup. Let's do a docker compose down. I'll remove everything. I'll prune all the images and then I'll do a fresh restart with the sudo. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause the recording and while I'm following these steps, I'll come back. Okay, so I did that. I ran it with sudo. Still, I'm facing the issue. So let's verify the Docker Compose YAML for this N8N configuration. Okay, so Docker Compose.yaml. Okay, and let's check N8N. N8N. This is the network. Okay. I think here's the issue because it's trying to create the data directory in slash home slash node, and Ubuntu does not allow because this is a user directory, right? Slash home after that, like slash home and Ubuntu. So yeah, let's change this path. Let's change this to home Ubuntu, and then inside repos dot node. Was it dot node? Yeah, I think that was it. Now Let's run Docker Compose up again. This should fix the issue, I'm pretty sure. Or let's just run install.sh. Okay, now it says it's started. Yeah, let's wait. Okay, let me check this time. Okay, finally it worked. So that was my bad. That was yeah. I'll make sure that I update the repo with the correct path. All right. So it says set up an account owner. So you can set up this and you can test it out. I just installed N10 to give you an example application that you can use to monitor in front of web. Okay. So I'll just keep it the way it is and we'll work mostly on this. So now what we need a domain over here. So 5678. Let's copy this. Okay. And we need to monitor which port. We don't have https enabled, so let's remove this. Okay, let's remove the port from here as well. We just need IP. Okay, and let's add 5678 over here, and it will act as a reverse proxy. And in upstream you can write localhost. Okay, and no, it won't work. It says abnormal status of upstreams. Let's use http. Nope. Yeah, we need to add the port 5678, and over here it should not be your domain because we are not accessing domain over this URL, right? We'll be providing a proxy URL. So if you have a custom domain, you can add your custom domain over here. For now, I'll just add localhost and the port number will be 8080. Okay, and make sure the port is opened from the security group rules, or if whatever cloud provider you are using. This should be good. Let's hit submit. Now it says it is monitoring your NA10 workflow automation application. So here is the application now. Now first let's understand how SafeLine works. So this is the repo, their official repo of SafeLine. And over here there is this wonderful image. It will provide you a quick intro into how does it work. So you see you have your internet gateway over here, and your users, your search engines, spiders, crawlers, attackers, everyone will be accessing your website through the internet, your endpoint. Okay, and if you don't have this WAF or any other WAF, the request directly goes to your website URL that you have exposed. But in this case, we have placed a shield in between internet and your website, right? So here's the internet, here's your website or your web APIs, web apps, mobile applications, and between those two we have placed a shield. So first the traffic will go over here, it will intercept. If it is a valid request, then it will let us pass through to the website or the web application. If it feels like it's a bot, it's a attack, or it's a malicious request, then it will reject it and it will log the request. So that's the whole idea behind using this, and you can read through everything over here. It will have a lot of things. So let's have a look at these main features of it, right? So as you can see on this application, you have http flood protection, bot protection, auth protection, and attacks. So if you click on that, and inside this there is a concept of waiting room, meaning if you send multiple requests at the same time, so only few of them will let it pass through, rest will be waiting in the queue until the earlier requests are being fulfilled. Okay, so that's that. Then there is a rate limit. In rate limit as well, there are multiple options. First is a basic access limit. That means if I'm not able to enable it, maybe customize. Yeah. Okay. So if I customize it, then open this basic access limit. It says, let me just maximize this. Oops. Where did it go? Okay. Where were we? Yeah. So it says an IP that makes 100 requests within 10 seconds will require an anti-bot challenge when accessing again within the next 60 minutes. Okay, so let's try to send 100 requests within the 10 seconds. So first we need to enable it, hit save. Okay, Now I have saved it. I've enabled the HTTP flood attack with 100 requests. If there are more than 100 requests, it will ask you for anti-bot protection. So let's simulate the attack. I'm gonna open my Apache JMeter. Okay, and let's open a new file. So I have this in downloads, I believe, and threadgroup.jmx. Okay, so over here I need to provide the threads more than 100. So let's give 200 requests, ramp up period 1 second, and then over here we need to provide the URL. Okay, so this would be your public IP on port 8080, right? Public IP, I'll take it from here. Okay, and port number is 8080. Now path is default. Okay, so let's hit and you can check the results. Okay, so now few requests were passed and then rest of them were failed. Let's look over here. Now if you hit refresh on any 10, okay, because I'm accessing it over 5678, right? So let's access it over port 8080 through the firewall. Okay, now you see over here it is first verifying me. So there is the firewall being placed in front of my N10. It checked the bot protection. It found out that it's legitimate request from the browser. That's why it let me pass through. But it blocked the request from the JMeter. Okay, so that's how this bot protection works. Okay, so we have tested this basic limit. Then there is basic attack limit, which says an IP that triggers attack blocking 10 times within 60 seconds will be automatically blocked for 30 minutes. Okay, so let's say if you are doing some sort of attack like the one that we just did, and you will be blocked for 30 minutes. So this is more than just access limiting, we are actually attack limiting. So if we click on that, save this, and let's go back, let's stop this. Okay, and execute it again. Okay, let's go back over here and let's hit refresh. Okay, so it will monitor for 60 seconds at least and then it will block. Let's open a duplicate tab. Okay, somehow it's not blocking. Let's see what it is doing. It says an IP that triggers attack blocking 10 times within 60 seconds. Okay, so you can reduce this. Let's say duration is 5 seconds. Attack is 10, action blocked, block for 30 minutes. Okay, must be within. Okay, let's keep it 10 seconds. It's safe. Okay, I'm gonna stop this and start again. Okay, start it again. And let's hit it again. Yeah, somehow this is not blocking. Let's come back to this. But you can also trace the attacks from somewhere over here, like HTTP flood. You see, it is saying it has blocked my IP. These many connections have been blocked, and it was blocked from my IP. And it says the reason was 100 requests within 10 seconds. Basic access limit was triggered. Okay, so this was the previous attack that we did for the basic access limit, and action is anti-bot challenge 60 minutes. So that was that. But the second attack is not being triggered, which is what we're gonna look at later on. Okay, so let's go back and let's check the third one, which is error limiting, basic error limited, which says an IP that triggers these many errors 10 times within 10 seconds will be blocked for 30 minutes. So it is similar to that. It is looking for one similar error. Okay, so that's HTTP flood attack. Now the next is bot protection. Okay, it says anti-bot challenge. If you enable this, it will say, you can just add the challenge condition as well if you want, like source IP or source URL or header as well, or the request as well. There are a lot of conditions that you can add, or you can just keep it the default and says automated browser will be automatically blocked when anti-bot is on. Okay, so which says if I keep save on it, and this is not an automated browser, right? So this is what I'm doing manually. But if I do it from here, even if I, let's say I do not these many, even if I just do a single thread, let's do two threads. So where is the, okay, over here, two, and let's hit play. Okay, so two threads are running and both of those were blocked. And now you can go back to the WAF dashboard inside HTTP flood. It's not here, it will take some time and then it will appear over here as well. Right, so that's waiting room, but here it will come in some time. Yeah, so we'll check this later on, it will come later on. But over here is the stats. So unique visits, unique IP, and then there is some, you see, while we are testing it, there is some IP requests coming from Netherlands as well. And these are probably the bots. And let's check if something has been detected. And here are the logs as well. So if there were any attack related logs, it will come over here. Let's go over here. Rate limiting, we, okay, here is the anti-bot. So this one was for HTTP flood, and here is the anti-bot challenge. So we did the anti-bot challenge attack, and here it is being logged. It says these many hits, only one was verified, and it's still processing it, it's still blocking it. Okay, that's anti-block challenge. Similarly, there is auth challenge, and if we go back over here, so let's remove the anti-bot, hit save, and let's go to the attacks one. So by default, these all attacks are enabled. So SQL injection, XSS, file uploading, file including, you name it. A lot of attacks have been by default enabled. If you want to customize it, you can customize the way it is. Like you can disable it if you want, or you can just enable audit mode or strict mode. Let's just keep it to the balance mode, and let's test some of these attacks. Okay, so I have a file in the same repository which says which has some commands. So let's try to inject the SQL injection. Okay, and I'm just gonna change the URL to this. Okay, and let's just change localhost to this on port 5678. Oops, there is a missing colon over here. Okay, so let me pass through it. Oh no, because I did it on 5678. No, this has to be 8080. 8080, and let's add colon over here. Okay, you see it says access is forbidden, so it detected the SQL injection attack. Now let's check the next one, which is this. Okay, this is also blocked. And let's check the path traversal. So it is trying to traverse the path for etc password directory. And let's check this. Okay, this is also blocked. Now let's check the XSS command injection. Okay, this is also blocked. Now everything will be logged over here. So we need to check where it is, but it should be here somewhere. This will come in some time. It's not, there is no data over here. Ideally, like they should populate it near real time, but it's not here somehow. And here is, yeah. So it would be better if they have something that could let us see the attacks over here. Um, but it will be there in over here as well in stats. If we go to security posture, okay, and there are a lot of pro features, so we don't have much visibility, but our attacks should be shown over here. Yeah, maybe I'll just wait for some time. I'll just pause the recording and see if it is populating the data over here or not, right? And it should show the attack trend over here. So let's wait for some time. Okay, so just within 5 minutes, now it is showing me four attacks over here. And out of those four, one is rate limiting, one is anti-bot, oh sorry, two is anti-bot. And you can see it has logged everything. Here is the IP. And if we go to traffic analysis over here, it should also show. So here are the number of requests, and that's the blocking status. Here is response status by the HTTP code. Most of them are 404 or 200. If you can see closely over here, it's not showing properly. Oh no, that's I think just the demo because it's covered under the pro version only. So let's ignore this one. And Here are all the stats. 99.87 requests were blocked. Okay, here are the events like attacks, antibots, and rate limiting. So the attacks that we did, it's coming from here. And what else? Let me see if we need to check something else. So here are the attacks as well. So on this application from this IP, there were four attacks. Okay, and this was HTTP flood attack. This was anti-bot attack. Yeah, and that's it. So we tested a lot of attacks. We did a lot of benchmarking, and we just needed to make sure that our application is secure. And I think we are in good position. What do you think? Would you be able to use something like this on your maybe home labs or your cloud environments? If you did, if you found this helpful, let me know in the comment section below, and I will share all the links as well, like my GitHub repo with the setup instructions and the official GitHub repo of SafeLine and all the documentation and everything. I'll share in the description below so you can go and check it out, try it out yourself. So, and also check out their pro version if you find anything worth spending for. But otherwise, this open source works well for me as well. So, check it out. Thank you so much, and make sure you do the cleanup if you are following along the demo. I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Happy learning.